come out loud and say, I am openly, 100% unambiguously against pedophilia and those that would harm children. And from there, that's the starting point of the conversation. There is most definitely a war going on for your mind right now. There's a movie out, The Sound of Freedom. It's an undercover agent's odyssey into exposing a child slavery ring, basically, a child abduction ring, and it was him rescuing children. And it's a one story out of many. And the way the news is covering it is they're associating it with a bunch of conspiracy theories like QAnon and far-right extremism, and they're really going far to discredit it. And as a father myself, I had to wonder, like, well, what's their motivation behind this? Because even if it was, like, mostly fabricated, if there was even a shred of truth to it, wouldn't you want that to be exposed? You know, even if it was fabricated for Hollywood. So it's very telling that there's just all the usual leftist organizations that come out against it. But, like anything, if you don't know anything about this movie or its backstory, well, the thing to do would be to research it. So I started looking into it. And I watched a few interviews with the main actor and the agent. His name escapes me, but they were all consistent in telling the story, and he talked about being associated with QAnon, and he answered the questions, and I was pretty satisfied. But the one that really blew me away was his interview with Dr. Jordan Peterson, and it was a 2-hour or so interview, and they just went into depth. They really dug into it. They dug into his backstory. They dug into his history. They dug into how the operation works. They talked about how a person becomes predatory. Dr. Jordan Peterson was able to break down the psychology behind it in a way that was easy to understand. And after watching that 2-hour presentation, I can say without a shadow of a doubt that it's absolutely true. If nothing else, they have actual video footage of the raids and the expeditions that they go on. And they bring people down there, their funders, and anybody interested can get involved, and they literally will show you the operations. So, and there's footage of it. You can go watch footage of this stuff. So, right there, it's the same thing. It was the same thing with Kyle Rittenhouse, where there was a huge percentage of people that thought that Kyle Rittenhouse shot and killed 3 black people. And if you had taken the time and watched any of the video footage, you would know that there wasn't even black people there. And for the life of me, I never understood why people just can't do the most modicum of research and just see for themselves that these organizations are full of shit. People are spoon-fed information from these news organizations, and they take them at face value. They don't do any research. They don't do any alternative news sites. They watch CNN. I'll even say Fox News, whatever your favorite news channel is. They watch that. They get their news, and as it's explained to them is what they believe. It just baffles me. It just baffles me because we're talking about kids. Now, the reason why I think that there's biblical implications to this is because the Bible states that there's going to be a one world government, and we will all unite under a cause. And if you look at what's going on with the LGBT, how the alphabet keeps getting more and more and more, it looks like the prototype for the lie that everybody will unite under, because that's exactly what's happening. Is people are taking their sides, either for or against. And the Bible states that it will be presented as a lie to test who the believers or lovers of truth will be. There's a lot of people that won't be converted. We're talking biblical here now. And I'm going into the book of Revelations. And there's a lot of stuff I was on the fence about, but the more and more I read and the more I see what's going on, the more and more I feel like it is the only religion that's based in actual evidence. And it just like the things that are happening in the world are matching up to the things that I'm reading and researching. And it's kind of terrifying, but it's also assuring in the same. Well, I'll tell you why it's assuring. Because if you come to believe, as I have kind of come to, I mean, there's still some things I'm on the fence about. I haven't quite made my mind up about yet. But like I said, the more and more I get into it, the more and more I'm starting to realize that, I'm on the right path. And if that's the case, then these things have to happen. And the outcome is going to be great. So there's really nothing to fear if you believe. If you don't believe, God, it's horrifying. It's horrifying, the implications to think that what's going to happen in the world and what is happening. But essentially, everybody's going to rally around. There's going to be, we're talking Antichrist here, like the one world government, that sort of thing. Put your tinfoil hat on, settle down. Alex Jones, baby. I love that guy, by the way. He's just endless entertainment. But we'll all be united under a premise that's a lie. And it will be everything that we want. We want safety. We want security. That's the lie. He's going to sell us on safety and security. But it'll be under a lie. And they will basically oppress those who don't endorse the lie. And the lie is there to expose those who love truth. And those who love truth will be given an opportunity to repent and convert. It'll be so obvious, and it is becoming so obvious. The more and more I research into this LGBT alphabet nonsense, the more and more I'm seeing that it basically kicks those that it was originally intended for off to the curb. If you're LG and you don't stand for the rest of this shit, because they're basically trying to associate you with pedophilia. They're trying to lower the age of consent. They're trying to legalize, basically. I don't even want to talk about it. I don't even want to articulate it. I think that the line in the sand should be firmly to protect children. Nothing against kids, period. I don't even know where there's an argument. They're trying to, associate this movie with like a bunch of conspiracy theories. And what? Their argument is what? That it's okay? Then yeah, this stuff does go on. And the guy even said on CNN, sure, there's child trafficking, but it's not nearly as bad as this guy makes it out to be. Do you hear yourself? Sure, there's child trafficking, but it's not nearly as bad as this guy makes it out to be. How about there should be no child trafficking? Let's start with that. Zero child trafficking. Can we get on the zero child trafficking side of the fence and then maybe go from there? Can we all unite under the basic premise that children should be protected? And if you can't come out loud and say, I am openly, 100%, unambiguously against pedophilia and those that would harm children, and from there, that's the starting point of the conversation. There is no ifs, ands, or buts when it comes to protecting children. It just baffles me. It just blows me away that they're really trying to denigrate this movie. And everything, all of the levers of power media, we canceled our subscription to Disney. And I think Netflix is next on the chopping block. We're basically systematically have eliminated all of our entertainment just because everything is just inundated with this message. And I'm just sick of it. And, of course, what am I called? Phobic. I'm homophobic, transphobic, whatever. You know what I'm just done having ideology pushed on me. It's like, you don't get to tell me what cause I get to stand for. And every single letter that they add to that acronym is another marginalized group of oppressed people. And they're all banding together. And here's the thing, there's a lot of rhetoric against white people right now. We are the easy pickings target. You can say or do anything you want against white people. You can make any joke. You You can do anything. You can do anything to them. You can murder them. And just get away with it because they're just white people. But there's a way out. All you got to do is pick one of them genders. All you got to do is have a little coming out party. Just go ahead, man. Just slap that pronoun on your bio, and you're one of us now. That's your way out. No. Truth, lie. Pick one. I'm telling you, the lines in the sand are being drawn, and as each passing day goes by, the more I see, we're going to have to make a stand. And I can tell you right now, I'm going to stand for the truth. Period.